In a previous video, I talked about stress and how this is determined by pitch change, syllable length and vowel quality. Today, I'm going to continue to look at word stress and how this helps the listener to recognize words. Now, placing stress on the wrong syllable is a common cause of people not understanding what you say. So I want to look at some word stress rules that will help you with your speaking and listening skills. So let's look at rule number 1. Now, most nouns and adjectives with 2 syllables place the stress on the first syllable. That's for about 90% of the time. So let's listen to some examples. Nouns first. Number 1, Richard. Number 2, Burton. Number 3, money. Number 4, water. Now let's listen to some adjectives. Number 1, happy. Number 2, English. Number 3, pretty. And number 4, playful. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. So I'll just let you hear one noun where the stress is on the second syllable. Machine. Let's move on to rule number 2. Okay, now most 2-syllable verbs have stress on the last syllable. So let's listen to some examples. Number 1, begin. Number 2, produce. Number 3, contain. Number 4, insult. Number 5, reduce. And number 6, export. You may notice that I am moving my head up when I say the stressed syllable. You must try and do the same. It will help you get the change in the stress. Let's move on to rule number 3. Now here, words that are ending in IC, SION and TION have the stressed syllable, the second syllable from the end. Let's hear some examples. Number 1, static. Number 2, realistic. Number 3, television. And number 4, solution. Okay, so let's go through those. The first example has 2 syllables. So the stress is on the first because it's the second from the end. In number 2, we have 4 syllables, so the stress is on number 3. For number 3, the stress is again on the third syllable because the word has 4 syllables. And number 4, the stress is on the second syllable, which is the second from the end, because it has 3 syllables. Let's hear them again. Number 1, static. Number 2, realistic. Number 3, television. And number 4, solution. Okay, now let's move on to rule number 4. Now here, for words ending in CY, TY, PHY and GY, the stressed syllable is the third from the end. Third from the end. So let's hear some examples. Number 1, democracy. Number 2, reliability. Number 3, biology. And number 4, geography. Let's hear those again. Democracy, third from the end. Reliability. Number 3, biology. And number 4, geography. Now with rule number 4, also words ending in AL has the stressed syllable third from the end. So let's hear some of them. Number 1, critical. Number 2, economical. Number 3, practical. Number 4, electrical. Again, let's hear them. Number 1, critical. Number 2, economical. Number 3, practical. Number 4, electrical. Okay, let's move on now to rule number 5. Now with words with many syllables, there's usually more than one stressed syllable. We say there is a primary and a secondary stressed syllable. Now let's look at some examples. Number 1, international. Now the primary stress is the third syllable from the end because it ends in AL. Okay? But the secondary stress is on the prefix in. Let's hear it again. International. Let's now listen to number 2. Antibiotic. The primary stress is on ot. That's second from the end because it ends in IC. The secondary stress is again on the prefix, and this time the prefix is an. Let's hear it again. Antibiotic. Finally, let's listen to rule number 6. Now, for words which have clearly two parts, we describe them as compound words. Now, with compound words, each part is an independent word, and usually the stress is on the first part. Let's listen to 2 examples. Number 1, greenhouse. Now, as you can hear, green is an independent word and it's an adjective. However, with a compound word, it functions more like a noun and is stressed. House, which is the second word, is the unstressed noun here. Let's hear number 2, blackbird. The same applies here. Black is stressed and it functions as a noun. Now, however, for compound nouns with adjectives, let's listen to an example. Bad-tempered. The stress is on the second part. So for adjectives, which are compound nouns, the stress is on the second part. Let's hear it again. Bad-tempered. Another example. Old-fashioned. Again, this is an compound adjective and we stress fashioned. You can also see in the text that for these compound adjectives we often use a hyphen so that you know it's a compound adjective. Okay, I now want to finally look at compound verbs. Let's have 2 examples. Number 1, understand. and number 2, overlooked. Now, the stress on these compound verbs are on the second part of the word. The stress is on stand in number 1 and looked in number 2. Let's hear them again. Number 1, understand, and number 2, overlooked. Okay, so I hope this video will have helped to explain some of the main rules native speakers use with word stress and what syllable is stressed to help listeners to understand the word. Once again, if you have any comments or questions, please get in touch with me. I'm happy to help you with this video.